positive. In order for us to really combat a lot of the challenges that are happening in the world today, we have to stay hopeful. And this is difficult at times for so many reasons. There's so many things that can weigh us down. And it's really, really important that we manage to maintain some positivity and hope. And it's kind of like an Olympic event. You know, you have to kind of train yourself. You have to train your mind that we have a choice in our minds of how we choose to react in our thoughts, our words, our actions to any event, and that the power of the mind is very powerful. So when you feel yourself getting down, a little despair, a little hopelessness, what are some of the things that you do to combat this? Is your yoga practice one of them? You know, what are some other tools? Maybe you can spend a little time thinking about what your tools are that you use for maintaining hope and positivity. And there's a quote by Noam Chomsky that I always have liked. If you assume that there is no hope, you guarantee that there will be no hope. If you assume that there's an instinct for freedom and an opportunity to change things, there's a chance you may contribute to a better world. So close your eyes and think about what helps you maintain Olympic level positivity, where you can train yourself to be a star athlete in the capacity to maintain hope and positivity. And just like any athlete, what are the tools you need to maintain that? What are your daily practices? Maybe one of gratitude, maybe one of mindfulness, paying attention to the small things that are filled with hope and beauty. So kind of as you close your eyes here, make a little mental gathering of your tools that you have that help you maintain a sense of positivity. And then also notice, where are your roadblocks? We all have tools in our toolbox, but you know, what's your kryptonite? What disallows you to access your tools? What gets in the way? What brings you down and doesn't allow you to be the light? And this is different for each of us. And how can your daily habits of the mind, daily habits of the body, help you to cultivate the skills and be able to overcome the obstacles? Truly, this needs to be a daily practice. It doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be hard, but something consistent to train the mind. So let's start with some gratitude, because this is absolutely something to put in your toolbox. Come up with something that you're extremely grateful for right now. Try to be specific. And then feel into not only this essence of gratitude, but what you are grateful for. Feel into these things. Let's go ahead and place our hands together at our heart and bow into your practice. Know that your practice is one of these tools to fortify yourself. All right, let's release and come onto your back. All right, so let's find our way. All right, so enjoy. Let's spend a moment here to breathe. So stretch out your spine, let everything kind of spread like a glass of water that kind of pours onto the floor. Let all your bones spread out a bit. Feel your joint spaces widen. You can have your legs straight or knees bent, whichever feels best. And now let's feel ourselves move into the heart space. As you breathe, can you expand your full lung capacity? Not to a place where you're pushing, straining, but just welcome in a broad, open heart and chest. Open up your hands. Let your body melt down. Can you have simultaneously an expansion and an opening and also a melting and feeling supported? All right, and then reach your arms, reach your legs. Come into the awakening of your body here. Come into some side stretching. Feel your rib cage open up. Then we're going to go even deeper into this side bend. So walk your legs over to the left a little bit and maybe pick up your shoulders an inch and move your arms over to the left a little bit and just feel a full side, right side body stretch. Enjoy and stretch that side open. And then come back to center. And of course, if a shoulder is bothersome, you can always take that arm down. You can have openness in your ribs without your arm overhead. And then let's find the left side, awakening, opening, walking over to the right with your legs, with your arms. Deep breath into that side. And then come back to center. Bring your knees now into the chest and rock a little bit. Swaying from side to side, get in touch with the way the back body feels. All right, and then let's circle the knees here. Going one direction. And then circling your knees another direction. And then let's open the knees up, spread them apart from each other and back in toward the midline. So away from the midline, toward the midline. Letting your hips, your hip joints get a little lubricated, a little open. And then grab your two blocks for a moment and place your blocks underneath your knees. Soles of the feet together. We're lying flat on our back, a little bit of support for just a moment of Supta Baddha Konasana. We're not going to stay here too long, but just see if you can melt the knees into the blocks, open your chest up. I'm hoping we'll have time to get around to this posture later in our practice. So just feel what it feels like to open the pelvis, to open the belly. See if you can belly breathe. Breathe into the low belly. Breathe, let the pelvic floor move. Soft shoulders. And then take those blocks out, bring your knees toward each other, knees and head come up into the center. Inhale, stretch your arms and legs, wiggle your fingers and toes, open things up. Exhale, back into the center again. One more time. Open your limbs out wide. Exhale, draw your limbs in. Relax your head. Roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. Okay, so find your way. Moving through some cat-cows, arching the back, rounding the back, coming into that state of freedom in the spine. Deep breath in. Deep breath away. All right. Move things around, swivel through your shoulders, move through your hips, find any kind of movement pattern that is right for your body. Warming up the spine. Don't forget that you have a head That can move too. And then stretch back towards child's pose. Walk the hands out in front of you. Drop hips toward the heels. Relax your skull down toward the floor. Breathe well. Walk the hands over to the side, feeling that sense of expansion. Fingertips hugging to the floor. Drop weight into the opposite hip, or into the same hip, I should say. But just feel into that side body stretch. Open up the ribs. Walk your hands over to the other side. Drop some weight. Let the base of your skull feel supported and relaxed. Breathe deeply. And then come back to center and come up onto all fours. Inhale, reach that one arm up in the air. Exhale, slide that shoulder down. Breathe well. Enjoy the twist. Notice what your pelvis is doing. And then inhale, arm back up in the air. Place the hand down onto the ground and move through your other side. Arm up, slide arm down. Gaze toward the floor. Have a sense of ease. Relax the shoulders. Deep breath in. Deep breath away. All right, inhale, reach that arm all the way up. Place the hand down onto the ground and find your first dog pose of the day. Maybe you've already done dog pose today. All right, so what a beautiful way to wake your body up. Feel the soles of your feet, the soles of your hands. See if you can spread things out, widen things around, see what feels good. Open up anywhere that can be opened, feeling into that state of ease and yielding at the same time as expansion. Notice the rib cage now. Notice the breath now. What's available? Train yourself to be present in your body. This somatic awareness is one of our greatest tools for combating a lot of anxiety and catastrophizing. And letting ourselves be here and now is a great skill. Walk your feet forward, come into Uttanasana, fold in half. Feel that sense of ease. Relax your shoulders, move your head around, sway your hips, wag anything. And then inhale for a halfway lift. Feel the legs open up, backs of the knees stretch wide, sit bones lift. Exhale and melt again. Drop your hips down, push off your feet, rise up. Bring the arms up to the sky if it's comfortable. Broaden your chest, open things up. If you're dizzy, remember, if your blood pressure bottoms out when you stand up, just pause for a moment and squeeze to the midline. And then when you're ready, broaden and join everybody. Feel the chest open, cactus, open your eyes. Feel the shoulder blades squeeze a little bit toward each other. And then exhale and round in. Rise arms up. Let's stretch through one side. So ground through your left foot as you reach up through your left arm. Feel the side body awaken from the ribs to the hip. Feel that space open from the ribs to the hands. Feel that space open. And then come back to center. Other hand on the wrist. Feel the extension. And even if you can't have arms overhead for whatever reason, you can find the side body. So just find what you can to open things up here. Inner spiral of the legs, ground through both feet. And then come back up to center. Open the chest, cactus the arms one more time. And then release and shake out your hands. All right, open your palms out and open the chest. Feel a sense of wide open heart without pushing the ribs. So we're not trying to pop the chest forward. We're just staying open. Rise up, bring the arms out to the sides. Palms facing up toward the sky. Tip your fingertips down a little bit toward the earth and pull your hands a little further back from your chest. Find your breath. Turn your hands. Press your palms straight toward the walls behind you. Extending your hands, so lifting your fingers toward the sky, and then up. Exhale, float down. Shake your shoulders, shake your neck, release tension from the base of the skull. Inhale for a halfway lift. Find the long spine. Exhale and melt back down again. Step the left foot back, the right foot comes forward to a lunge. Let's start waking up the lower body now. Feel the deep bend and then straighten a bit, breathing as you go. So remember, when our legs are asymmetrical deeply like this is a lot of pressure on the spine if we round our back. So this is why I use blocks. It's so helpful to have some height so the spine can stay fairly neutral as you awaken and open the hamstrings. It's okay to round the thoracic spine a little bit. Just try to maintain some neutrality in the lumbar spine as you move with bending and straightening that front knee. How is the breath? All right, come to a lunge. Plant the back knee on the ground, unless, of course, your back knee doesn't like to be on the ground, in which case, just come into a lunge. Rise up, bring the arms to the sky. Open yourself up, try not to fall. Okay, so rise, and then hand on the knee one more time, coming into a side stretch, opening up the side of the body. All right, and then release the hands down to the ground. Now we get to pick the knee up off the ground and rise to the sky. Bring your arms out or up, wherever is most spacious. So think spacious for your breath, spacious for your spine. What gives you that sense that I am free, I am capable, I'm strong? Meet the world with an open heart. What would happen if you just always had this feeling of an open heart? And then release the hands down, walk the back foot forward, fold in half. Shake your shoulders, your neck, your hips. Inhale for a halfway lift. The spine grows again. You can use blocks if you want or hold on to the legs. Exhale and melt other foot back. Right foot is back there now. Left foot is now forward. Find that sense of awakening. Open the chest. Breathe deeply here. All right, and then let's start to move. Bending the front knee, straightening the front knee, breathing as you go, being mindful to try to stay fairly neutral in the lumbar spine. As you awaken, where are you feeling this? Where's awakening? Where's stretching? Where's opening? Do you like that feeling? Any sensation in your body, see if you can revel in it so that you know when you feel a sensation, you're present, you're here. Sometimes we can get very numb to a lot of the strain and stress as a response to the strain and stress. So it takes courage to stay present with sensation of the heart, of the mind, of the body. Ground your feet. Let's place the back knee down if you're able. You can always do this with your knee off the ground if your back knee doesn't like to be on the floor. Rise up, two arms. Try not to collapse and fall into the posture. Extend, and then when you're ready, place your elbow on your knee and stretch through your right arm. Feel the side body lengthen. All right, release that hand down. Lift the back knee up off the ground, back to your lunge. Ground. Feel your yielding. Rise up. Okay. Extend. Where do you want the arms? Where gives you that sense of, the sense of space, the sense of I'm capable, my heart is open, I am free, I am stable. How does the pose translate and imprint these states into your body, into your mind? All right, release and relax. Take your hands down, dog pose. And remember, if you're moving slower today or faster today, just modify your practice as you go. All of you are experienced yogis. You know how to give and take a little bit to personalize your practice for this moment. Find your breath. Yield into the ground, rebound off the ground. Come into the broad side bodies, awakening and opening. As you're ready, find your way forward into a plank. You can always put your knees down onto the ground if you need that level of support for your torso, your shoulders, your back. Keep your head in line with the rest of your spine instead of picking it up. Find your breath. All right, let's go ahead and put our knees down. Slowly lower yourself to the floor. Bring your arms out in front of you. Turn your hands out a little bit wider. Stretch your legs. Start to feel the back body work a little bit. Open up the rib cage. Find a breath. Notice what your low back is doing. Try not to collapse and buckle, and notice the vertebrae that you tend to collapse into, and extend through that part of your spine. Use your core to support. Stretch into the legs. And then exhale and release and melt. Hands a little closer in. Shoulders move down away from the ears. When you rise up, don't even think about straightening your elbows. Drop the elbows down and back. Exhale and release and melt. Last one, lift your hands, hover off the floor and feel the back body engage. Feel all those little muscles along your spine kick into gear. These muscles get very tired from our slouched posture, so let's give them something to chew on. Like let them strengthen in a contraction instead of, in an eccentric contraction where they're having to hold our slump. Come onto all fours. Swish, swish. Move your spine, move your head. Breathe deeply. Settle back towards child's pose if it's comfortable for your body. Breathe well. And then let's go ahead and take our right foot forward again. We're going to keep the knee on the ground unless you don't want to. You can always lift the knee back up off the ground. But feel into a pretty deep hip flexion here. Hands can come onto the floor like I'm doing, or you can put your hands up on blocks if you need a little extra height underneath you. Just feel into that hip. Find your breath, extend your spine, widen your sit bones, and then if you're able, curl your toes under and lift that back thigh off the floor. Pretty deep lunge here. All right, place that knee back down onto the ground, head your hips back toward the heels for a child's pose, and then come forward with the other side. Arm on the inside edge of your foot. Extend through your spine again. Shoulder blades are broad. Collarbones are broad. Feel into the deep flexion of the hip. See if you can enjoy that. Does it feel good to compress into that hip joint? Curl your toes under the back leg. Lift that knee off the floor if your body is able. You can always keep it down. Notice if your knee hyperextends. See if you can have a sense of stability through the core to help support the legs. Press your feet into the ground. How's your breath? From here, come back to dog pose. And you may need to, maneuver that a little bit. So if you need to come onto all fours first or anything else, just find your way. Deep breath in, deep breath out. All right, let's walk our feet forward. Come into Uttanasana, wag the tail, relax the skull. Inhale and rise up. Chair pose, you can choose to put a block between your thighs if you want to. This is very stabilizing for the pelvis, for the hips, for the knees, for the ankles. So if you need that level of support, take it. Try different positions with your arms. See what it feels like to have your arms back. See what it feels like to have your arms out. Have your arms up. Find the place that gives you the capacity to be strong and stable, but also not, fighting yourself in the pose. You want to have a sense of freedom where your neck and shoulders can be a little softer. You can ground and yield into the earth. Find the rib cage expanding. Okay. Rise all the way up. Release the hands, turn sideways on your mat, and take your legs wide. If you were using a block, move it off to the side, and come into a wide-legged stance. Reach one arm down, one arm up. So left arm is in the air, right arm is sliding down, and you can keep your hand on your hip too. Feel into that side body. And then come on up. Feel into the other side, opening up the side ribs. See if you can let the sun shine out through the sides of your rib cage. And then come back to center. Turn your feet to the right and come into Parsva Konasana. So place your elbow down, open up through your chest. Bring your arm anywhere that you want, but see if you can stay with, so it's very easy to collapse one side of the body here. See if you can stay in extension through both sides of your spine, feeling that broadness across the side ribs on both sides of the body. As best as you can, ground into the feet. Open up the breath. Can you feel the sides of your ribs moving, breathing? Anywhere with your arms, keep your shoulders moving away from the ears. Wake up your legs, ground into the earth. And then when you're ready, you can straighten your thigh just for a moment. Reach the arm up in the air, so reversing now, and come into a reverse warrior. Open up through the ribs. So it's easy to turn this into a back bend. See if you can avoid that. Stay in the side body. And if you need to come out of the lunge a little bit to maneuver your rib cage, do that. Okay, so find what's going to give you the capacity to not sink and collapse into the low back. We want to stay stable. All right, and then come back up. Turn your feet to the long edge of the mat, and we're going to come and go into the same two poses on the other side. So moving to the left now, bend your left knee. Now remember, your pose can be very shallow. You can be here with your hand on your knee. There's no reason why depth is considered better. Go where your body appreciates, where your body feels comfortable, where you're able to maintain yielding and stability and breath. Where do you want your arm to be? When you lift, if you lift that arm overhead, do you kind of collapse through the underbelly? See if you can keep elongated on both sides of the ribs. Regardless of how deep your hip ended up, can you move the femur bone deep into the hip joint? Remember that deep hip flexion we felt in that lunge. Find a little bit of that now. Ground into both feet. Relax the neck and shoulders. Breathe well. All right, now when you're ready to come out of the pose, straighten your leg for a moment. Reach your arm up in the air, your left arm up in the air, and bend your knee again. It's very easy when we come into reverse warrior to push our pelvis forward and collapse into our lumbar spine. So see what you can do to take that thigh bone back, to stay in a neutral pelvis, a neutral low back as you reach into the extension of your side. It might mean that you need to come out of the lunge a little bit. If you go deeply and you tend to kind of collapse, try something slightly different to give you that grounding in space. All right, come back up, swing back to the front, or to the long side of your mat, 2 feet wide, turn your toes in, bring your hands down. And your hands can come on blocks. If the ground is too far away, you can come all the way down with your head on the floor. So however your body works, see if you can feel the expansion. Move into the breath. Relax your head. Melt through the base of your skull. we're going to come out of this posture and turn your hands back to the front of your mat as you're ready, and walk your feet to the back. So dog pose, extending through the spine, stretch through your feet, maybe pedal a little bit. Deep breath in and out. All right, then let's put our knees down onto the ground. Take your forearms down onto the ground. And as you're ready, spread out the hands, curl the toes under, and lift to dolphin pose. So, in a posture like this where we have to really work the shoulders in a unique way, see what it feels like to be able to keep the ribs extending into space. So even if you have to put your knees down, you can still do this pose with extending rib cage away from the floor. Find your breath. And then inch your feet back, come into a forearm plank. You can always put your knees down onto the ground if you need to. So you decide where you're going to be in space. Shoulders away from the ears, find the breath. Engage through the 360 of your core, finding that stability. All right, and then lower yourself all the way down to the ground. Take your arms back behind you, palms facing the ground. Lift your arms away from the floor. Lift your chest. Legs stay down for a moment. Breathe deeply here. And then exhale and melt. If you so choose, this second time, you can lift everything up, legs too. Find your breath. You don't have to lift your legs up. Go out the posture that's right for your body. Breathe into the heart. Feel all those muscles in the back of the body work. Exhale and melt. Turn your head one way or the other. Pick up your feet. Windshield wiper your knees left and right. Turn your head the other way. All right, let's come on up to all fours. Find a little swish and sway. Move your spine around, however feels good to your body. Okay, and then we're gonna come into gate pose. So you can pad some extra padding. If you wanna flip over your mat and put a little extra padding underneath your knee. You can also use a blanket. This leg's gonna come out to the side. Okay, so you can do this pose in lots of different ways. If your foot has trouble coming down to the floor, you can put your foot against a block or against the edge of a piece of furniture or a wall. Because try not to let this hip, be here. See if you can keep the right hip right over the right knee and press your shin into the ground. Externally rotate the left leg like you would in tree pose or triangle pose. Feel that rotation. And when you're ready, reach the arm up, slide the hand. Try not to collapse. We're not diving weight down onto that knee. Have a little micro bend in that straight leg. Bend knee within the straight knee. Reach up. Press your shin and reach up. Open the side of your body. Relax the base of your skull. Okay, and then release. And soften. And let's come to the second side. If you're not okay with your knee down onto the ground, you can do a similar pose. You can do triangle pose. That might give you a nice even sensation. And you can also, just come over into a very narrow triangle pose. So just find what's working for your body. There's always ways to modify everything. Be creative. Creativity is a part of staying hopeful too. Finding new pathways, solutions to problems that are in your own body. Press your shin down into the ground. Reach that arm up. Try not to let the hip hike out to the side or go past. Stay right over the knee with this leg that's straight. Try not to bear weight and lean. We want to rise up and open up the rib cage. The hand is there just as a place marker, not as a weight bearer. Breathe deeply. And then come back around. Come back to center. Stretch back towards child's pose. Take the hips back toward the heels. Relax your forehead toward the floor. Take your knees as wide as you need them to be. Shake your hips. Maybe rock from one side to the other. Weight bear into left. Weight bear into right. See what feels good. And then as you're ready, curl your toes under, straighten your legs, lift up, dog pose. Deep breath here, in, deep breath here, out. Extend through the sides. Okay, we're gonna come down onto the knees and we're gonna come into Vasisthasana. So you can have your hand on a block if you want. You can do this pose standing with your hand against a wall. If you can't put your knee down or whatever's happening in your shoulder, slide the shoulders away from the ears. So there's lots of variations for this. Let's start with the knee down, and you can either have your foot pointing toward your other foot or perpendicular, whichever gives you a sense of stability. Inhale, reach on up, and if you're doing the full pose where your feet are stacked one on top of another, that's another choice. I'm doing knee down because it makes my shoulder feel better. All right, and then when you're ready, reach that arm, and I like a block arm underneath my hand for this. It just helps to keep my spine in a better place, but you put your body where is best for you. Shoulders down the back, reach into space, stretch from your fingers to your foot. Open that side body up. Okay, and then relax and come back down onto all fours. Have a moment to move your spine, sway your hips left and right, a cat-cow, whatever feels good to you. And then we're going to find our way to the second side. So you block, no block, knee down, knee up, standing with your hand against a piece of furniture or a wall. Choose a pathway that's good for your joints, for your strength patterns, for your opening. The whole goal here is to open ourselves up, to find courage, to find strength in opening. So if your hand is down on the ground, it's okay to have your hand a little bit forward of your shoulder, but don't go, wicked far forward of your shoulder, just a little bit. Or your hand can be right under. Find the sweet spot for your body. Where do you want your shin? Do you want it perpendicular? Do you want it parallel? Somewhere in between? Find what gives you balance, stability, the capacity to open the chest and stay free. Move the shoulders away from the ears. When you're ready, reach that arm overhead. See what it feels like to stretch through the side. If your shoulder is unhappy with overhead, try taking your hand, instead of on your hip, try taking your hand on your ribs and open up the rib cage from here. So find a pathway that allows you to open the side ribs without bothering your pelvis, your back, your shoulders, your knees. Breathe well. All right, and then come back down, all fours. Have a moment. You can swish your spine around, wag your tail, move through some cat-cows, whatever feels really good. And then we're going to come into child's pose. Breathe deeply here as you allow your body to come back down. Arms go wherever you want them. So we've done a lot of overhead stuff. So if your shoulder's a little tricky, make sure you're caring for it. Just sway a little bit. Move into the right, move into the left. Find that weight. All right, and then come on up. We're going to come into heart bench. So, passive back bend. Let me give you a different choice. If you're really rambunctious this morning and you have a lot of energy and you just want to go, I'm going to show you two different choices. Heart bench, if you're not in that kind of rambunctious mood. This pose is a little challenging for me because of my tight little space, but I'm going to show you. This is, we often call this wild thing. We're going to lift the left leg up, and you spin that leg around, place it down. Only do this pose if you know this pose. And then reach into a one-armed back bend. Stay as long as you want, and bring yourself back. If you're not familiar with that pose, it's kind of like, don't try this at home type of thing without a yoga teacher there to guide you. So I would recommend heart bench if you're not familiar with that pose, or if you're we're all going to end up in heart bench, but if you want to really open up beforehand, you can choose that active back bend or any active back bend for that matter if you want to. Once we come into heart bench, if you're short, you can have your blocks like this, with this block on the low height across your shoulder blades. If you have a little extra height in your spine, this might feel better to have the block along your spine. So choose your pathway. I like both. Both work for my body, different on different days. Maybe you're that way too. Okay, so the block under your head is a little higher than the block under your spine. All right, let's start with some nice neutral straight legs and find where you want your arms to be. There's so many pathways here. You can interlace or hold onto the opposite elbow and stretch your arms over your head. You can have your arms straight out to the side like a T. You can cactus the arms with a little support, maybe some blankets underneath your arms. Find whatever is a happy place where you're not just like anything. We don't want to hang in our joints, and it's easy in a pose like this to hang in your shoulders. So make sure you are supported, at least under the hands, that they're touching the ground or support, so that you're not just hanging in the space. All right, so find what feels best to your body. Open up the rib cage. It's so easy when we feel despair to collapse the heart, melt inward, or get cagey where we're guarding our heart space. So unwind, unmelt, open up, free your breath. See if you can have the courage to open the heart and stay free. Olympic level positivity. What are you grateful for? What kind of light can you shine into the world? Your little sphere that you can shine a light into, your family, your community, your friends. How does your positivity uplift other people? Having an open heart can also be a inoculation when you are around people who are not so positive. So instead of kind of coming down or being pulled down, you can rise up and lift people up. An open heart requires a lot of courage and a lot of vulnerability and a lot of capacity to be present for emotional states, regardless of what they are, not pushing them away, not denying them, not, kind of numbing them, but to just be fully present for yours and others' experiences. How's your breath? Can you melt your skull? Feel free to change your arm positions. All right, let's go ahead and relax. Come over onto your side. Feel that sense of wrapping into a little ball. You can even put that block under your head and just rest on your side for a breath or two. Breathe into the back of the heart where the block was. Expand there. Air that out. And then move your props So get those blocks out of the way and come onto your back and bring your knees to your chest. Rock a little bit, swing from side to side. A simple twist. Feet down onto the ground. Lift your hips up and move them to the right. Bring your knees up and drop them to the left. Open the chest. Turn the head. Let your spine free. If it had any tension from those back bends, see if you can ease yourself into this posture. And then come back to center. Find neutral for a moment. Move your hips over to the other side. Drop your knees. Now remember, if your knees don't easily come to the floor, you can grab a bolster, a blanket, a block, something to put underneath your shins so that you don't have to go down so far. Turn your head in opposition of your knees. Breathe well. All right, let's come back to center. Find a neutral spine. Bring your right knee into your chest. You can either have your left foot on the floor or straighten it out. Extend through the spine. And if you're able, you can grab a strap if you have one handy, or interlace your hands behind your hamstring. And just let's lift up into Supta Padangusthasana 1. Extend the spine. Feel the glutes, the hamstrings, the calves stretch. Breathing well. All right, and when you're ready, 2 feet in the strap. Extend the spine. Start to let the left leg match the right. And then when you're ready, take the right foot out of the strap. If you're just using your hands behind your hamstring, just switch legs. So interlace your hands behind your left hamstring. Your right leg can be straight or bent, whatever feels really good for your body. Keep the spine long and spacious. The low back is in a neutral curve. Shoulders are soft. The back of the head is resting. And one more time, if you're using a strap, 2 feet come up into the strap. If you're holding your legs, you can either grab peace fingers around your toes, or you can hold the backs of your legs, whichever feels good. Straps are really nice for this because they let your back relax a little bit more. All right, and then relax. Bring your knees into your chest, rock a little bit. And then find your way into happy baby pose. Let your back round some. Ease your way here. Feel free to rock a little bit. Press into the hips. All right, and the knees come back into the chest. Pick up your head. And then relax your body down. So we're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana. Such a wonderful pose to cultivate the skill of being open in our bodies, relaxed and free. So I would recommend a lot of support. If you have, props like bolsters and such, this is the time to use them. So, if you have couch pillows, whatever you got. So, I'm going to put my heart bench blocks back where they were. I'm going to put a bolster there. And then, you can use pillows to put underneath your outer knees. You can use blankets. So we want to support our back. And you don't have to. You can do this pose flat on your back. The most important thing you're doing is supporting your hips. So you want your legs supported. Even if you are very flexible and you're like, I can do this pose with no support, take support, because when we have support, our nervous system responds. If I had more props, so here I'm grabbing more props, I would put pillows underneath my arms so that my arms aren't down so far, so that my shoulders can be relaxed. If I had just one more blanket, which I don't have within arm's reach, I would put it under my head so my head was a little higher. Ooh, I'd rather have that than my arms supported. So you find what's right for your body. This pose should be the beginning of your Shavasana. So take your time to get comfortable, to put use as many props as you have available so that your body really can come into that state of rest. Supta Baddha Konasana is such a beautiful posture of restoration, repose. You get to be open, free, at ease, supported. See what it feels like to be able to drop into that space. Is your head able to relax? Is your spine able to relax? Can your heart be free? Your belly, your diaphragm? How about your pelvis and your low belly? Can everything soften and ease? Can you relax your head back? Can you stay inside your breath? So you can stay in this posture for the entirety of Shavasana. And at any point, you can make any adjustments. We have about 5 more minutes of class. So you can stay on the props and straighten your legs. You can put props underneath your knees. You can stay put right where you are. You can curl onto your side. Your choices are always there. Try to stay inside that deep, soft, open heart. Breathe here. Practice the art of being relaxed and open and free. Let's begin deepening our breath again. Start to feel your way out of this posture and movement that supports you. Eventually finding your way onto your side. And coming up to a comfortable seat as you're ready. Place your hands together at your heart. Can you feel your heart open? Can you stay in that space of your expanded ribs, your open heart, your open mind? Let's offer this space, this energetic heart space, to another. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a blessed day.